Hi, my beautiful people. It's your girl Judith, and once again, I welcome you happily, graciously, beautifully to the Word of God. Eh, 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 eh. Yeah, it's such a blessing to have you here once again, to be in your face. And to be honest, I'm grateful for it. So today, I am not alone. I am not by myself. I have a very special guest. Ding a ding a ding a ding a ding a ding a ding with me. And I'm just going to go right into it and introduce him to you. So I have with me Dr. Ogenovo Okpako, who has a bachelor's degree in electrical electronics engineering from Madonna University, Nigeria, and a master's degree in advanced control and systems engineering from the University of Manchester, United Kingdom. He didn't stop there. Now he has a PhD degree in electrical electronics engineering in the area of energy storage in the future smart grid. And this he obtained from the University of Bradford, United Kingdom. So Dr. Okpako currently works at the University of Portsmouth as an assistant professor in renewable energy engineering. He's also a member of the IEEE, even though I don't know what that means, Power and Energy Society, a member of the UK Institute of Engineering and Technology. Guys, if you if you heard me right, can you like I really need to bring jingles into my I have to learn how to bring jingles into my video, because this is, oh my god, this is amazing. To begin with, can you just clarify, sir, what is the meaning of IEEE, Power and Energy Society?
All right, okay. It's actually Institute of Engineering, of Electrical Electronics Engineering, basically. So it's like a society for electrical engineers, yeah.
Awesome. So it's such an honor to have you on our channel today, The Word of God, where men live, move, and have their being by the Word of God. Today we are dealing with career, and we are so blessed to have you, such a profound individual that you are, and we are hoping to learn from you today, because from what I have here, this is a lot of experience, honestly. Yeah, so questions from me. We do have questions for you. Can you please share a bit more details about your career journey and your current job?
All right, okay. Thank you very much, Judith, for these questions, and also thank you everyone that's listening to my conversation. I will try to be as concise as possible because I'm very analytical by nature, right? Basically, with respect to my career journey, when I graduated from my PhD, or prior to my graduation, I actually had a job with the Science Foundation Ireland and the Department for the Economy in Northern Ireland, and so I actually worked with them as a research associate. So basically, it was all about developing cutting-edge and innovative solutions to tackle the problem of climate change with regards to what the transport sector. right? Really, beyond just doing the everyday job as an engineer, where I developed the policy framework for the Northern Ireland government under the project which we were funded to do. It was all about the soft skills, having to work with people, being a team player, having to work in a multicultural environment, and a whole lot of others, which I actually learned there. So for me, I would really say it's more of a learning curve. Life is all about a learning process. So you are in school, and then you finish school, and then you transit to work. Then on the job, you have to learn the work itself, and also you have to learn to be a team player by being able to work, have a good rapport with your colleagues at work. So I think that's been my journey so far. Then after I left Northern Ireland, I was in Belfast. I proceeded to where I'm currently working now, which is at the University of Portsmouth, where I currently work as an assistant and professor in renewable energy engineering. And so basically, I'm interested in the area of sustainable energy and future energies, what the future really holds, what kind of energy should we use in the future, how do we protect the climate, and how do we save the environment for what future generations. So we try to meet our needs, but at the same time, we don't compromise the environment for the future generation to meet their need. So it's all about sustainability. So that's just basically what I preach in my career.
Nice. I'm just thinking how you managed to move from bachelor's to master's to PhD. Was this always your ambition? Did you envisage yourself at a very young age that you'll get to this level, or did things just happen by accident, or you were like, okay, maybe let's say, for example, you finished your master's degree and you're like, okay, I think it's time to do this. So how was the journey like for you?
Well, thank you very much for that question. Basically, I would say it's all about, you do something and then you give yourself another target. So basically, growing up as a child, it was all about this concept of, do your first degree. You know how we are trained, in Nigeria, you do your first degree and then you want to, secure a job. And so that was just my mindset when I did my first degree. But prior to my completion, I had my parents who were also there supporting me, like, no, don't worry, you can, take it a bit further. So go for your master's. So I took it as a challenge. I also wanted to study that overseas in one of the big universities. So that actually motivated me. So after that, and then I said, well, you could do PhD. So I saw people were doing PhD and everything, and within me I had this passion of wanting to also contribute a solution to engineering problem, because I'm an engineer. So PhD sort of gives you that platform where you can actually provide a research-based or a cutting-edge or an innovative-based solution to solve problem. So really, I would say it's more like a step case scenario. So more like you climb one step and then you challenge yourself further and say, okay, you know what, the up is still right there. And so how do you get upstairs? So you continue to climb from one step to another until you just get there. So I think that was just what has actually played out for me.
Nice. Very interesting. Thanks for sharing. So my third question would be, what are the core values that has helped you scale this far? What are the things that helped you to get this far in your career? Let's say you want to give an advice to your younger self. What are the core things that you'll say, okay, be disciplined, this, that?
Yeah, for me, I would say number one, you have to have passion. So one, passion is what gives you that drive. So you have to have passion that this is what you want to do, and then you have to look at yourself, basically, and you have to, have the drive internally to say, this is what you want to do, and this is how you can contribute meaningfully to the society. So it's not like you're just living just because you want to exist, but you also want to contribute something to the advancement of the society. So you have the passion. So when you have the passion, what comes next? You have what is called the resilience. So what is resilience? So it means that along the journey, you're going to have challenges coming along the way. But because you have the passion would do what? Would propel that resilience. So the resilience carries you right? Along the journey, even as a student, you have to read your book, you have to attend lectures, you have to do labs, you have to go for meetings, you have to do all sorts of things, and you also have to learn how to have good working ethics or good working relationship with your supervisor, your schoolmates, your friends, and everybody around. So this is something that has really kept me along the journey. So another part also too is what discipline and what character. So when I mean discipline and character, so you can be talented, you can be super talented, you can be super intelligent, but if you don't have what the discipline, if you don't have the character, then you basically cannot, get to whatever position you aspire to become. And the overall and the crowning one is what you have to have God, because the Bible would say the race is not unto the swift. Neither the battle is for the strong, but time and chance happens
to them all.
You have to have the God factor into it and know that yes, whatever you're having today is basically not just you by your own capacity, but it's just a chance and an opportunity for you to do what to get whatever position that you are. So the God factor plays a final key part in all these things.
Wow, interesting. Thank you so much for sharing. Again, in now you are in academia, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people, I know I have a few friends that have, moved from home to the UK to study, right? Some of them have finished their studies, some are working, some of them have finished their studies, they are yet to get into the industry or yet to get a place to work in. Now you have experience. How long have you been in the UK, if I may ask?
Well, I've been in the UK for 9-10 years now, so
whoa. That's long. So now it means you have what I am looking for. How would you advise a younger version of you that's coming from Nigeria to the UK for greener pastures? So, okay, not necessarily greener pastures, okay. They are coming to the UK either to study, and after study get a job, It's not like we don't have jobs at home. It's just a personal decision that a younger version of you is saying, I want to go abroad and study and I want to work afterwards. What kind of advice would you give them? Like, what are the things that helped you stay this long?
Yeah, the thing about, that's a good question, but the thing about, like I said initially when I started, this conversation, I talked about having the passion, right? You have to have the passion to want to do something, and then the resilience, and then you have the God factor and everything. Now, besides, going into those, but you also have to understand you're coming into a new, a different environment. So, particularly where you're coming from, you would expect to see a cultural difference. You understand? So you also have to learn how to fit into what the culture. So take, for example, if you're coming from Nigeria, for example, you're coming to the UK as an engineer or whichever field you're coming to do. The UK actually values work experience, right? Now, let's say you're a young graduate, you don't really have that work experience, right? So basically, during your school, during your schooling period, right? You could also, do things like what internship, right, with companies, right? So let's say if you don't even have opportunity to do like an internship, right? You could decide to do what is called like a voluntary, you could volunteer, do like a voluntary service to any company or an organization. Now, that thing helps because you're developing your profile. So the UK, for example, would prefer someone that has like a kind of an experience from a UK-based experience. Fine, you may not have the experience from where you're coming from, but right while you're in the university, like I said, your voluntary service, you could do volunteering, you could do what internship, right? So that could what help. Now, another thing you could also do, something I also encourage even my students at the universities to also become members of what professional bodies. So take, for example, I'm a member of the what IEEE Power and Energy Society. Now, I'm not saying this because I did a PhD. I wrote a research paper in my university, and then I was sent to the United States to actually give a paper presentation. Now, it was not all about, traveling to the US just because I wanted to present a paper, but it was all about, the opportunity that it opens, the doors, because when you're a student, if you're a member of a professional organization, let's say IEEE, IET, or whichever one body that belongs to that your field actually belongs to. So when you belong to that body, they normally have events, conference and other things. You could attend those conferences. Whilst you are attending those conferences, you also are building network with people who are in the industry, in the academia. You could even write a research paper. Nobody even stops, an undergraduate or a master's degree student from, writing a paper. They can even write a paper with their supervisor, and they go to such conference, and it gives them the platform for them to be able to work, to speak, and for people to work, to also know them. So it's just an opportunity for them to work, to sell themselves, and to also build network. So in other words, what am I trying to say with respect to this is, when you're a member of a professional body, it's all about the networking skills. So now you already have the technical skills from the university and all that, but you also have to learn how to work, fitting into the environment. So when you're coming into the country as into UK, for example, as a young engineer, you have to do these things. You have to build your network as well. I think that's what I can basically advise younger coming people, like say engineers who wants to to become something great, or they want to do something in the UK. And there's also another thing I could also add. You have all these company talks, company presentation, even at your university, right? I remember when I was at University of Manchester, right? So we normally do have like some of these top companies, they come to give their talks, their presentation. Meet people, go to job fairs and all that kind of thing. Now, and also when you're coming into the UK, don't have this idea that you know it all. I mean, I'll tell you something. Now, let me share a very good experience with you. I remember when I came in with my Nigerian CV, right? Now, your CV is Nigerian based. I'm not saying it's wrong, but the UK has its own style of, of their CV, or actually writing their CV. So basically, all you need to do, right? You have to go to the career service of your university, give them your CV, let them advise you, and they would help you structure your CV very well, and that would help you to get a job, and to help you
navigate
into the system. And I feel these are some of the things basically I would want to advise young people coming into the UK to do. Just take an advantage of the opportunity. Yes, you have to develop yourself, get the needed skills. And also another part is, even at the university itself, the university also have, different support mechanisms. So take, for example, they have the guidance and counseling department, they have the finance, also support students. So when international students have problems, right, they should try to also speak to their tutor, which should be their first line of action. So every student normally, even in the UK, they have what is called a tutor that is assigned to them. So they have to speak to their tutor and explain to their tutor what their problem is. Then their tutor, who is an experienced member of academic staff, would make all the necessary moves to make sure the student is supported and the student have a very positive experience whilst studying at the university.
Profound. Thank you so much for giving that it's very clear and it's very specific. I'm sure somebody somewhere has learned something and would run with that. Now, you, again, still in the area of academia, now students. You interact with the students. I was once in that position where I was an international student, and I wish someone had guided me in some of the mistakes that I made, in some of the things that I could have done better. I just wish someone had advised me. So you have worked with students, them in total, if it's okay to put it that way. What are the mistakes that international students make? What are the commonest mistakes that international students make? It's like they come and they just let down their guards. This is abroad, because I remember my experience I remember then my course coordinator would be like, just say your mind, say what you feel free, write your thing how you want to write it. And after saying that to me, I ended up in a place where I didn't make the best result, like in that particular course, because I felt like, okay, I could do anyhow. I could do what I wanted, and it was okay. So what are the experiences, what are the things that the commonest mistakes that students make when they come abroad? Maybe do they feel too relaxed? Do they feel too comfortable and feel like they could get away with anything? What's it like?
No,
And how can it be corrected? Sorry. And what are the ways, in what way can these students do better?
All right, okay. So if I try to understand from your point of view, you're trying to say what are the common mistakes international students make, and
Yes.
what can be done better in order to.
Yes.
Well, if you ask me from my point of view, and I wouldn't really say it's a mistake. It's not really a mistake, I would say, but it's an awareness or a consciousness or something. But that is why even at the university level, we have what is called inductions. Induction week, where we try to tell the students the different support mechanism, right, that exist for the student. So take for example, I've been a student here before as an international student, and sometimes some of the challenge we have, I'm saying it from personal experience as somebody who has been at that level before, right? So some of the challenges sometimes you have with international students is, let's say, things like school fees, it's a major problem. Maybe the finance they are expecting from home, it's not coming. And so the thing is, you have to now understand that the university itself, like for example in my school, then they have this kind of mechanism whereby they might tell you, okay, if you have this problem, let's say you pay it instrumentally and all that. And if you have some problem even financially and all that, the university even has a way, even at university where I did my PhD, they have a way whereby they can even support the international student. So I think I would say sometimes the international student, maybe they might not be aware of some of the support mechanism that's actually being put in place to actually make sure they are covered. So also another thing is, okay, let's say for example, a student coming here let's say I'm supervising an international student, right? Because sometimes they also need to understand the culture, right? So if you don't understand something, if I'm your supervisor, for example, and I give you a task to do, right? I don't expect that you give me the 100% answer, right? I have been a student, right? But the point is, make an effort, right? Even if you don't know it, come, make an effort. But sometimes you find out that because sometimes some of us from our background and from where we're coming from, we might be shy. So you might think that, oh, if I ask my supervisor this thing, he's going to, I think maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I'm not capable to do this project. He would, lose his trust on me. No, but even as supervisors, being in the field, we understand that these are some of the challenges. So when we even give the students some of the tasks, right, we have it deep down in our mind that these students need what support, And so what is most important first is your person, your willingness. It's not even about your intelligence or your capacity, your willingness. And speak up, open up. If you don't understand anything, let's say you're working with a supervisor, have a meeting, meet your tutor, speak to them. If you have problems financially, speak with the university. Always talk with the university. And also on the other part, I would say in terms of knowing how to also balance your work, right, and your school. So as an international student, for example, I understand, I don't know if they've changed some of the rules now, but in our time, they used to give like 20 hours per week, where you could do some part-time job. I would say the kind of job you pick that period, right, you have to be tactical about it. So take for example, right, I would tell you from real experience, if I'm doing a job that is physically very demanding, right, after 20 hours of doing that job in a week, I might surprise that could drop me another 60 hours of my time because I have to sleep, because you're doing something very physical, right? You have to sleep, you have to recuperate and all that, right? So if you're an international student and you know that you want to study here in the UK, I would say don't take a job that is going to be physically that will take a physical toll or is going to be physically demanding on you. Because at the end of the day, you still need energy. You need the glucose to be able to read, to be able to burn what the midnight candle. So you have to be smart about how you select your part-time job.
Understood. Understood. I could not agree less. True.
Okay.
That is well spoken. You tackled it really well. Okay. Yeah, to the part I like.
Okay.
So as far as I know, you're a born again Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you say and me? Okay. So never mind. I thought I heard you say and me. So how has this identity in Christ Jesus impacted your career in general? And what are the unique things that have set you apart in the industry?
That's a very good question. If you remember, like when I said, when you asked me, so what are some of the things that have, propelled me in my career? And I talked about passion, resilience, and at the end of the day, if you remember that, I crowned it all with what? The God factor, right? If there's one verse, and that was my very popular verse while I was doing my PhD, and I used to discuss that with my mom, even when I go to lab and I try to do some of my mathematical solutions, because as an engineer, my work involves a lot of math, and things does not work well. I always tell myself, Daniel chapter 2, verse 27, it happens when Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and he did not want to tell anyone about his dream, but he wanted the magicians, the astrologers to interpret what they dream. And they brought Daniel. Daniel was one of the wise men. He was considered one of the top-notch guy in the Babylonian government at that time. And Daniel said in Daniel 2 verse 27, remember when he was talking to Nebuchadnezzar, he said, well, he says for the mysteries which you're looking for, say not even your magician nor your sorcerers can reveal this unto you. He said, we have a God in heaven who revealed what mysteries. So I see everything, even in terms of breakthrough, in terms of what I do, in terms of research, in terms of my output, as being something that is like a revelation. So this has been something that has really propelled me, in my career.
Okay. Nice. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you very much.
Okay. My last question actually, were there challenges that shook you as a person in all your years abroad? And do you mind sharing them? Okay. And how you overcame them?
All right, okay. Well, in terms of all my years of studying, I would say basically you have to look at it in terms of how do you balance your school life, and as a student, you also have to work to make money. And that's why I talked about financing the other day, and these are some of the challenges we deal with as an international student. So basically, in terms of me, I will look at it in terms of my life encompassing three facets. So one, church, work, school, and I have to look at how I balanced these facets. So sometimes you have this challenge whereby, okay, yes, the school work sometimes can be very demanding, and at the same time you're hungry, you need to get something to put on your belly, because if you don't have something to eat, that's also a challenge on its own, so you must have something in your belly for you to be able to sit down and read the book. So having to balance these three things was really a very key challenge. I wouldn't say church was not a challenge for me, but I would say work and schooling at the same time. Yeah, so because as for God, that's an obligation to do the God's work, but for school and for work, how do you to balance it up? And so this is where the challenge. So where do you draw the balance? How do you strike the balance? So this is critical. So that's why I said, well, as an international student, you have to be smart. You have to know the kind of job to do. Don't do something that is going to take a physical toll on you.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. It's really been an amazing time, listening to you and listening to how you have overcome challenges and gotten to the level you are right now. Thank you so much for sharing. You know, some people back home feel like, okay, when you move abroad, there is some job or there is some money waiting for you somewhere. You just have to go where it is and clock it. Things are fine, you know. Well, it may work for some people, to be honest, but it's not always the case. You have to find your way, and sometimes you have to go out of your way to find your way. So I like the fact that you mentioned that even you had to had to work in between, do your work. I don't know what doing a PhD is like, but I can imagine what doing a PhD is like. So I'm like, okay, how did you manage, shuttling between the work you had to do and still doing your studies, even at master's level? So thank you so much for sharing. I believe it's a question of balancing what needs to be balanced. Balance your time, your work time. Yeah. So, sorry, I didn't get that.
That was what I was saying. You just need to know where the balance is. Because the thing is, you have to feed your body, you have to read your book, and your spiritual life too. You don't have to sacrifice because you want to read your book and because you want to feed yourself. You ignore your spiritual life, your communication with God. So the three has to what? Go.
Good. Now, that was my last question. So what would be your last words to your viewers, listeners, and that student in Nigeria or that career person in the UK or that student in the UK hoping to navigate into the system? What would be your last words for them? And of course, what would be your last words to the Word of God?
Right, okay. I would say that, I would say as a student, right? People always think about, basically from Nigeria, the whole concept is, so how do I come to UK? How do I study? Yes, how do I advance my life, improve livelihood for everybody? Things are so very good, right? But the key question beyond that is, right, you get all those things. What will you be remembered for? Under this watch, one day you will die, you will leave the world, right? What will you be remembered for? So what is going to be the positive impact? You understand? You've impacted on people's life. So this is something, right? What's it called? This is something that is very, very important, just beyond you achieving all these top-notch grades and everything. Very important because you need that, but beyond that, aftermath, your positive impact. So that is what I would want to say at the moment. Then also another part I would also say is that whilst you're doing your work, always try to be diligent. Even the Bible said it, in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 29, that if a man is diligent in his work, he shall sit, among kings and not mere men. Diligent in what you're doing. So I think this will be my, final words to the audience.
Lovely. I love it. Thank you so much, Dr. Ogenovo Okpako. Did I pronounce it rightly?
All is correct. But let me use it. What do we say? All join. Don't worry.
All join. Okay. Thank you so much for honoring an invitation. That's number one. And thank you so much for sharing your life journey, career journey with us, and also your experiences with us. I sincerely, on behalf of my people at the Word of God, we sincerely appreciate you for coming and gracing us with your wisdom today. Thank you so much, guys. That's the end of it for today. Thank you for watching. God bless you real good. See you same time next 2 weeks, actually. Bye.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye.